G'day mate, 40 here. I've got fantastic news. I'm a new man, and I know your reaction. You're saying, 40, you're a new man every 3 weeks. Like what's the new cereal enthusiasm this time? What's the new supplement? What's the new one weird trick that you've implemented to yet again become a new man? 40, I'm skeptical, I'm tired. 40, you've worn me down with all your transformations. Don't tell me again that you're a new man. I don't want to hear it, 40. But I am a new man because I've been leaving my CPAP on all night. So I was diagnosed with mild to moderate sleep apnea in 2011, and I got a CPAP. But I haven't always been faithful to my CPAP. In fact, I tend to get quite irritated with it, and I'd often just leave it on for a few minutes to open up my nasal passages and then take it off. And as a result, I've gotten a substandard sleep over the past 14 years, which has resulted in a personality that is not always sparkly, shiny, fresh, and positive, and tends to not always be the most considerate to myself and to other people. So one of my favorite 12-step teachers, Herb K, he makes a profound point. You can't expect to get any traction with your recovery until you start getting a decent night's sleep. My God, I think this is probably the most dramatic and easy way to transform your life, and that is to do whatever you need to do to get a good night's sleep. My God, I feel fantastic. I've just had my CPAP on pretty much every night for the last week, and I am a new man. Glory be. I haven't done any live streaming for a couple of days because I am just absolutely intoxicated with Grok 3. Right, just the intellectual smorgasbord that is available when I pose questions to the Grok on the platform X, the AI chatbot. It's very impressive. Today, for example, I asked Grok for a platform for a non-Democrat to win governor of California. I asked Grok for a platform for a non-liberal to win mayor of Los Angeles. Some of the essays that I've written that are most important to me, I take various ideas from the essays and then put them into Grok and get feedback. So I think over the past 11 days, I feel like I've asked Grok hundreds of questions and then using the responses to round out many of my essays on my blog. And it is opening up vistas, I tell you. Vistas. Just wonderful vistas. The perfect vista. Great vistas are opening up to me on Grok. I'm telling you, perfect vistas. It's amazing. It's transformative. Do you Grok me, bro? You Grok me, Bob. Thank you, bro. I was really moved, Bob, by that analysis of myself as a guru using the gurometer put forward by the two academic hosts of Decoding the Gurus, Matthew Brown and Chris Kavanaugh. So apparently I have some moderate guru tendencies, but I'm not quite Jordan Peterson. That was hilarious. I didn't realize how strong my guru tendencies were. I thought I was just a humble, unassuming servant of the truth. But turns out the truth is more complicated than that. And it was revealed to me by Bob, who also put a decoding of the Decoding the Gurus into Grok. Received some thoughtful analysis. And then who could forget the contributions of our friend Laponius, who would ask Grok, write me a short story where Luke wants to achieve a solitary pleasure, but a vision of his crusty-lipped rabbi comes to his mind, and that prevents him from the sin of onanism. So I was just watching some recent Nathan Kaufness videos. He was invited to speak at Stanford University. I think there were 4 or 5 people in the crowd, including the economist John Cochrane, and half dozen people were there via Zoom. And they're all quite rude. So normally in an academic seminar, a person gives a speech and then he answers questions. But they were just peppering and interrupting Kaufness from the beginning. I wish he would have said, I am going to finish my presentation and then I will take your questions. So you can't allow people to abuse you because they'll just do more of it. You have to stand up for yourself, fight for your right, not just to party, but to present. So doggone it. I wish Nathan had just said, excuse me, I wish to finish my presentation and then I would take your questions. But it's fantastic that Stanford University invited Nathan Kaufness to talk about race and the origins of work. I mean, that's beautiful. And then there's Andrew Gold in the UK. He's got a 4K Nathan Kaufness video. So you get to see every little drop of sweat on Nathan's forehead and during the interview, and for me that was worth it. It's the one and only 4K Nathan Kaufness video on the internet. The first, I hope, of many. Just the degree of intimacy that comes when you get that 4K Nathan Kaufness interview, it adds a whole new dimension to his body of work. So in an interview about a year ago, Nathan talks about when he was in high school, he took a class in anthropology at Columbia University, and a class in anthropology, and the professor said that Brodmann's area 17 in the brain is larger among Australian Aborigines than Europeans, and that may account for the Aborigines' superb tracking and visual qualities. And then he added which parts of the brain had to shrink to accommodate an expanded Brodmann 17 as a question, and that just blew young Nathan's mind and sent him off into a journey of race realism. Oh, I also asked Grok what accounts for the fall of the woke censorious regime at YouTube. It seems to be becoming much more open, less censorious. I don't believe I received a strike for years on YouTube. So a conversation much freer. You can discuss the validity of the 2020 election, the effectiveness of vaccines, all sorts of things you can now talk about on YouTube that would have gotten you automatic strikes. So Grok had a thoughtful analysis of that. And then I'm listening to a somewhat awkward conversation between Cameron Adair of the California Review. He's a conservative at Berkeley in the graduate department studying philosophy. He had Curtis Yarvin on, and now he's got Nathan Kaufness. And he asked Nathan, why haven't you been fired yet from Cambridge University, where Nathan is in the philosophy department? And Nathan says, for reasons of litigation. I like that. Why haven't you been fired yet? For reasons of litigation. And Cameron just hates it at Berkeley. He says it's 50% Chinese, that many of them don't speak English, and it's not a safe space for conservatives. And he considers much of the philosophy department teaching on a low level and ridiculous. Kaufness makes an important point that the type of people who become academics are people who enjoy doing homework. Like, yeah, that's a good point, mate. Right? So a lot of education is just accepting and following the dictates of educational processes, following the rules. It's an education in getting educated according to a particular process. And so people who color within the lines and enjoy doing homework are the ones who are most likely to succeed in formal education. And they talked about the ridiculous nature of philosophy journals. And Kofnes, who has published a great deal in many different journals, oh my God, Michelle Williams dying for sex, inspired by a true story. Oh, you shouldn't look at this billboard. It's not kosher. So don't spend any time on that, mate. So Kofnes wrote an essay, and this was his presentation at Stanford that was rudely interrupted by all these triggered conservatives. He wrote an essay on the right stupidity problem that he published on his Substack, and he said, when I was finishing up the essay, I was thinking about publishing it in a journal. Then I realized I wouldn't want to make the changes that they would want me to make, and I didn't want to talk about the things that they'd insist I talk about. And so I know people doing PhDs who are forced to pay obeisance to all sorts of woke imperatives if they want to get through the system. And so Kofnes, his essay, The Right Stupidity Problem, has been incredibly influential. But he just didn't want to go through the bother of trying to publish in an academic journal because they've become so stifling and woke. And so now much of the best thinking on philosophy happens on Substack. You're getting high on grok. Who needs alcohol when you got grok? Oh, am I? I am blessed. You got to be strike, maxing, offend the official victim hierarchy, create new accounts, go for the clicks, be outrageous. You got to be strike, maxing. Okay, I was down for doing homework if it interested me. But most of the time the homework didn't particularly interest me. So I wasn't exactly down. But what a glorious day. Don't you just love life in Southern California? I had a beautiful sunshine. It's about 68 degrees. The sky is blue. The air is clean and fresh. It's the first day of spring. It's just been glorious all week. Oh, it's just love is in the air. It's spring. It just makes me so happy. This is why I live in LA. Right. Beautiful blue skies and sunshine 330 days a year. So I've got like 30 different topics to live stream on, thanks to my grok investigation. But I'm just overwhelmed, intoxicated, addicted to grok right now. Just don't know if I can pull myself away to live stream. Also, I don't generally live stream unless I want to, right? There were the nearly 2 years that I did it with Kevin Michael Gray, so we had a set 5-day-a-week schedule. But if I'm not feeling it, I don't want to do it. I don't want it to become rote. I'm not just here to attract your super chats, right? I want it to come from my heart. I want it to be fair dinkum and genuine in the public interest and in my interest. So it was great. I took 2 days off live streaming, just living the life, just hugging trees, singing songs, going for long walks, having deep thoughts, seeing friends face to face. And now it's the first day of March Madness. Right, UCLA plays in a few hours. Right, men's college basketball. Catch it. Spring skiing in Seattle right now. Surely God is in this place.